Good afternoon. The Audible is on the air Friday afternoon. Kim Bokamper, my good friend Joe Rose with me here. We're ready to talk to you about the Miami Dolphins and the Tennessee Titans Sunday. And Joe, at least we got a game, man.
Yeah. Hey, this worked out good
for
here
a little
in
bit.
South
I know
Florida.
I know a lot of you people out there that are following us, that are watching us on the Audible here. You know, not South Florida people. We have people that watch from all over the country and in other parts of the world that watch us here a little bit. And so you're not dealing with the hurricane, but we dealt with this hurricane. And for a little while, Joe, I was thinking that this thing may not come through. And then Mike Mularkey kind of spit it out there late in the week or earlier in the week that, hey, this game may shift to Tennessee, but that's not all happened. The hurricane is gone by. What was the hurricane's name? Matthew?
Yeah, it was Matthew this
Hurricane
time
Matt?
around. Yeah, Hurricane Matthew.
Hurricane, you're out, Matt.
Yeah, done. We're
So
out
anyway,
of there.
we're not dealing with it anymore.
No.
So the game is on. Hard Rock Stadium, Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff. Miami Dolphins, Tennessee Titans. Joe, this is a game, not a must-win game. You got 4 games at home in 5 weeks. They got to win this football game. They got to start making up some ground if they want to be relevant for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I just like to see a complete game, Bo.
Yep.
There's been too many bad quarters of football recently. They need to get a complete game. And we'll talk about some of the areas, especially offensively, because I think that leads to the rest of the team playing well. They got to get things going offensively on third down.
Yep.
Time of possession and not turn the ball over. 9 turnovers in 3 games.
Well, the thing about, it's simple to say Adam Gase's offense is predicated on making timeouts, moving the ball down the field. He's a short passing guy, maybe throw it up the top every now and then, but basically it's kind of work your way down the field. Right. If you can't get a first down, you can't work your way down the field. And the residual of that is a defense that by the time you get to the fourth quarter, these guys are sucking gas because they've been on the field so long. They've got to resolve that. I'm not as concerned about the defense if they can get that offense going and give that defense a little room to breathe.
Well, that's why I say I think it's a big part of it. They can get things going. They're dead last in third down right now. If they can get that going, like you said, Bo, the big guys over on the bench, by the time they sit down there, say, hey, it's time to get punting team. Let's get back out there, get ready. And I can't imagine you've been through that, what it's like to happen over and over again during a game.
You come off the sideline, you want to catch a little breath, and all of a sudden you see, you know what, the thing that always aggravated me, when you look over and you see the punter and the long snapper practice, God, Jesus, come on, man. We just got off the field. Give us a break here,
We did our job. We got off, and now we're back on. Exactly.
All right, let me let you know how you can get a hold of us here. You can catch us on Twitter. You can ask questions via the hashtag #TheAudible. You can catch us on MiamiDolphins.com, and in a delayed basis, you can watch us on Facebook, the Miami Dolphins Facebook page. Got a little NFL juxtaposition going on. I think they saw Joe and I together in this show a couple times. They said, no. We need to change some things, but it'll all get worked out in due time. But you can catch us on Facebook after the show. Usually comes on a little later in the afternoon, maybe tomorrow. But you can also catch us on Twitter if you're watching Periscope. As I said, send the questions in. Just hashtag #TheAudible, and you can get involved. And we'll go ahead and answer your questions as we go along. Joe, you take a look at this football team that's coming in, the Tennessee Titans. They've got problems of their own.
Correct.
Got a good young quarterback that's not really playing up to the expectations that he had coming in. They do have a great running game in DeMarco Murray. Let me take DeMarco Murray. Not only is running at 496 total yards from scrimmage, so he's a guy who catches the ball out of the backfield, gives them their running game, a tough guy to handle. So the Dolphins have to play the type of run defense that we saw, I think, for the better part of that game against the Cincinnati Bengals. It seemed like it was a week ago Thursday.
Yeah, Bo, I talked to Coach Gase today. Gang tackling, getting a whole bunch of guys around the ball, getting in one-on-one situations where you're trying to make one-on-one tackles, get everybody flying to the ball, and really keying on that guy.
And you know what? To me, it all comes from run support. You know, if you get guys upfield, it collapses everything inside. And then you don't have to spread out so much. You don't create so many gaps inside. But it's all predicated on guys getting upfield, forcing the ball in. And I really thought after about halfway through the first quarter in Cincinnati, I saw them doing that pretty much throughout the rest of the game. And their run defense, the numbers certainly showed or reflected the way that they played.
It's getting old to always say the same thing, but I thought the defense played well enough to win in that game for as much as they had to play because the offense struggled so badly.
Yep. Here we got a question in from Twitter, which I think is a good question. Hey, Joe, can we get Devontae the ball more? I'm going to give you my 2 cents on that. Devontae's got to want to get the ball more, and Devontae's got to put himself in position where they can throw the ball to him more. In other words, he's got to run better routes. He's got to get separation, and he's got to run routes, Joe, at times like he means it.
I want him to look at himself as being an elite player.
Yep.
That's still to come. Sometimes I look at Devontae Parker and I feel like I'm looking at guys just kind of like, wow, I'm in the NFL. This is great. Instead of looking at the freakish talent that he has and realizing he's got a chance to be a special player. But saying all that, I'm Ryan Tannehill. I'm going to push it and throw it to him. I see one-on-one situations, even if he's covered, I'm throwing it at that big body saying, go get it, because you got to start playing like a big-time player.
Throw it up in the air. Just throw it up in the air and let him go after it.
Can't just be about Jarvis Landry,
No,
We know he's going to get his. We know how good he is. I wish Jarvis Landry could take his head off at some of that brain and go, here, Devontae, take this. And all of a sudden, he's walking around like he's really good.
Well, Jarvis, I think Jarvis, he's a good kid, works hard, does all those types of things. But he's also a quiet kid. He's an introvert. And you look at Jarvis. Jarvis is an extrovert. He's out there. He's on it and all that. And I've seen Jarvis and Devontae together during the offseason. Or you see him in Fort Lauderdale every now and then. And, Jarvis, hey, how you doing? Devontae just quiet.
Right.
And he kind of meek back there. But I think that's the way he tends to play the game a little bit. He got to get a little more of that. Look, he's got to believe, because he is a very, very good football player, very talented football player, and he's got to believe he can go make those plays. I think he's still learning that, Joe.
Yeah, it's all part of this learning process. I agree with that, but Bo, you got to look in the mirror one day and go, wow, everybody keeps telling me I'm 6'3", 215 pounds, can run and jump and catch the ball. He's got great hands.
Yep, no question.
I mean, he's a total package, and when he is well covered, he's so big he can go get it.
Yep.
So we need to see more Devontae Parker. I agree
I'm with you. Feed as much as you can. Speaking of Tannehill, this question from Corey Suisse. We need Tannehill to use his feet. Well, I think he's used his feet some, but I'm with him. I love when he gets out of the pocket.
I do too.
Especially when he goes to the right. He's got good acceleration on the football. Great. He hits the target, and he gives you that. I always said this as a linebacker. When I play linebacker, the most difficult thing for me to do was drop into coverage, especially in a zone coverage, when that quarterback starts encroaching to the line of scrimmage. Now I got to make a decision. Do I come off my coverage and go after the quarterback, or do I stay back and wait till the quarterback crosses the line of scrimmage? And that's a difficult decision to make, because you're going to give up one way or another. And so, I think Ryan, if he can get more situations where he attacks the line of scrimmage and puts those people back there in a situation where now they've got to make that decision, pull up, they come up, boom, you go over the top, they don't, you run. It's a two-way go for a quarterback, and I think he's smart enough to get that done. We've seen him do it in the past.
Those run and pass situations, and not ones that are called, but also getting out of the pocket instead of the plays where we've seen him get sacked in the pocket because he doesn't step up. Don't be afraid to jump out of that pocket if you see a hole, and buy some more time and allow your guys more time. And then he's such a good athlete. We've talked about all the good things. We've seen it. We just need to see it on a consistent basis with Ryan Tannehill. That's all. He's got the goods. I say it, both people rip me all the time. I know everybody and a lot of people have given up on Ryan Tannehill. But I just think these next 12 games, he can play a lot better, and it starts this Sunday.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Did you watch the Monday night game, the Giants and who the Giants play? The Vikings the other night. You watch Eli Manning. Guys won 2 Super Bowls. You're going to like him or you're going to not like him. He's won 2 Super Bowls for that football team. He's been a multi-time Pro Bowler. Let me tell you what, when he sees nothing there, he wastes no time getting rid of that football, live to take another snap and run another play. And you'd like to see a little bit of that out of Ryan and moving the punt. I think they worked a lot this week on his pocket presence. Twitter, what's the situation with our corners? Well, the situation with our corners is a little bit dicey. A little bit dicey right now. Yeah. Xavier Howard hasn't been practicing this week. Everyone knows there's a little bit of a situation with his knee out there. Not sure exactly what the situation is going to be on game time Sunday, but there's a very good chance we see Byron Maxwell and Tony Lippett as our 2 cornerbacks.
That's right. All right. Byron Maxwell going to get another shot. They told him, you're not starting right now because the young guys they felt played better, which, by the way, I agreed with. Yep. But he gets a second chance to show he's worth what they gave up in the trade for him. And I hope he comes back and he plays better. He's got a lot of experience, but Bo wasn't getting it done in those first couple of games.
He's got a way
to beat around about it.
He's got a second opportunity to tighten things up. We'll see if he does it. You're listening to the Audible here. You're catching us on Facebook, Facebook on a delayed basis. You're also seeing us on MiamiDolphins.com and on Twitter. That's how you're sending your questions in. Send your questions in via Twitter or Periscope at the Audible, hashtag the Audible. I'm not sure what the hashtag the Audible means, Joe.
Hashtag
I'm not quite sure what it is. But that gets the questions in. Here's another one from Miguel Moya. What are the Dolphins' strengths? Well, I think the Dolphins' strengths are that offensive line. You got all 5 of them together now.
First time.
Brandon Alberts missed a couple days with some sickness, but he's expected to play on Sunday. You got Mike Pouncey back in the middle, and Anthony Steen, and you know what? I keep calling him Ulrich. What's Keith Urbeck? Keith Urbeck. I call him Ulrich. Urbeck. But anyway, those 2 guys did a pretty good job in there.
I thought they did a nice job.
I thought Steen did very well, and Urbeck did the best he could, and I thought he did pretty well. But neither one of them are Mike Pouncey.
Not in that league. Nope.
No doubt about it. So you get him back. Now you get all 5 of you guys for the first time. I think that's a strength of this football team. I think our defensive tackles are a strength. Look, I'm going to say our defensive line. I like the strength of our offensive line, our strength of our defensive line. And I like our receivers. I think that is the strength of this football team,
I agree
in my opinion.
Those 4 first-round picks on the offensive line, come on. It was built to give Ryan Tannehill more time. This will be the first time the 4 of them have played together. Now that Mike Pouncey will come back, Brandon Albert will move back out to left tackle, Laramie Tunsil will move back into left guard. This should be the best. And if they can keep them healthy, I'd like to see how this works after they spend more and more time together. But I expect right off the bat, Mike Pouncey is so good. And I know he's been injured and we forget about it. He's such a good player on nose tackles.
You know, I heard Omar Kelly, who well, I'm not going to say. Anyway, I heard Omar Kelly, and he brought up a good point. You know, with Ryan, since Ryan Tannehill's been here, since he's had his starting offensive line, he's 6-1 behind his starting offensive line. And so, to me, that's a legitimate number there. You know, they can run the ball a little better. He gets more protection. So here's another opportunity. He's done it 7 times. This is his 8th time. See what happens here.
Yeah,
but that's that's.
I agree with
you.
To
me, that's a pretty significant number.
That should be the strength of the team. And we haven't gotten it, but those 3 wide receivers are the Kenny Steele's in there. I know he dropped 1. He's got 1 drop in the first game against Seattle, but we got to get him the ball more too. He's been a big play guy, and man, when he gets open, Bo, he's gotten serious separation for Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the touchdown in Cincinnati. I mean, he was gone with him, and then we all know about the one in Seattle that was there. But he's done some good things. Now, look, I know broken coverages, which kind of takes me back to one thing. I know, Ryan in the game in Cincinnati, end of the game, throws that interception. It just looked horrendous out there. And I thought Leonte Carew ran the wrong route. 2 receivers did run the wrong route. And the reason the interception looked so bad is because you had 2 receivers that didn't run the route. Everyone says, you got to throw it before the guy makes his break, and then Ryan threw it before he made the break. Right. Unfortunately, he made the break in the wrong direction. Right. So just to kind of clear that up a little bit for some of you. I need new shoes. Do the questions need to be about the Dolphins? No, they can be about the kind of shoes that you're looking for, too.
What kind of shoes are you thinking?
Are you looking for something more casual? You looking for something a little more dress? I tend to go with flip flops myself more.
You like flip flops
more times than not? Yes.
I just broke down.
Those are pretty
some new ones.
Those
man.
are pretty nice.
They're a little more cushion, Bo.
Those are for running.
You've
been running a lot?
No, but I've been walking a lot.
I know. Yeah,
I've been using these.
I got those.
Thanks.
It's
Bo.
all about comfort for me now. I don't care how they look. I go for comfort. So, but no,
price.
Yeah, comfort and price. No, the questions don't need to be about the Dolphins, but you can't ask a question. The questions need to be about the Dolphins without asking a question.
Right.
That's not about the Dolphins.
No,
Joe.
you can ask us about anything. I'd prefer you leave my personal life out of it if you don't
but
mind.
you can dredge it up if you want. You want to muddy the waters a little bit.
Feel pretty muddy from time to time.
Dredge it up here on the Audible. No question about that. The other thing when you look at Tennessee, Marcus Mariota. A guy that's got a lot of ability. Yeah. He can extend plays. He can do a lot like Russell Wilson in the type of player that he could be or that he's been at times. Not having the type of season I don't think that this football team and Mike Mularkey expected.
Not enough touchdown passes and more interceptions than touchdowns is not a good number. And their big complaint up there right now in Tennessee with Marcus Mariota is this, Bo. The short passing game and the timing with his receivers has not been good. It hadn't been good with Rashard Matthews, a former Miami Dolphin, or the rest of those receivers. So their passing game is way behind the timing, and Marcus Mariota has turned the ball over way too much.
Well, it'd be nice for the defense to jump into some of those. What's the one thing we need to see? We need to see more turnovers on our ledger, less on the other side. No question about that. Joe, another thing that Adam Gase talked about this week is getting out of that 4-man rotation at the running back position,
Oh,
and
glad
I'm
to hear
all
that.
for
Me
that.
too.
You know, you got to give these guys, you got to give a running back an opportunity to get in there, get a feel for it. You know, and mostly, especially a big back. You know, and you know, I'm a proponent, especially if you've got a big back, and I like Kenyon Drake. If it was my choice right now, I'm talking about Arian Foster. He's probably, you know, he practiced a little this week. I don't think he's going to be ready to play this week. You got to get those muscles, whether it's a groin or a hamstring or a combination of both. Those things need to be healed up 100% before he gets back. I don't think he'll play this week. I would love to see Kenyon Drake get the bulk of the carries and see what he can do. He's got the speed, the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. I guess the question I would have from him would be his ability to pick up the blitz, protect the quarterback.
Right.
All rookies kind of have a tough time going through that. But he's a guy I'd like to see, and I do like the idea of picking one guy, giving him the bulk of the – now, look, if he doesn't do anything the next week, hey, maybe Jay Ajayi is a guy you give the opportunity to. But I like the thought process.
I think you hit the two names that they're going to get the bulk of the carries this week. It'll be Jay Ajayi and Kenyon Drake will be carrying it. I agree, Bo. Not to sit here and second guess or on the radio second guess what a coach is doing, but I wasn't big on watching 4 guys going in and out of there constantly. Go with a hot guy. If a guy has a good series, come right back out with him. If he's a guy that's got the hot hand, and I think Coach, by the way, who's not afraid, and one thing I respect about this guy, Adam Gase, he makes something or he's not happy with something when he goes back and evaluates himself, Bo. He's not afraid to tell everybody, hey, I didn't handle this great, probably shouldn't have done this, probably shouldn't have done that. So, but we're going to shorten that running back situation for sure.
I'm interested to see how that's going to work because you like to find that one guy that can be the bell cow for you and get it going. LG 2-Raw, do we need a real inside linebacker that can shoot the gaps and rush the quarterback? Well, look, I think when you look at Kiko Alonso, I think the best thing he's done since he's been here is shoot the gap, rush the quarterback. He's had his hands on the quarterback a couple times. One time he spun out on him, but he's had some pressure rushing the quarterback.
Hasn't been bad overall.
Now you'd like to see him coverage-wise maybe tighten things up a little bit. But, you know, he's made a lot of tackles out there. You'd like to see him maybe a little closer to the line of scrimmage, but he's made a lot of tackles. He's been very active out there. And I do think he's a guy with the ability to rush the quarterback. Now, you know, Neville Hewitt's another guy that I think when he's in there, give him the opportunity to rush the quarterback because I think that's in his style of play to be able to do that. So there's another guy I think you can throw out there. And look, they're playing a 4-3, you know, and so the designation from an inside-outside linebacker is a little different than a 3-4. You know, you get that guy that, you know, the tight end moves over, they rotate over, and all of a sudden you go from being a strong side to a weak side linebacker, you know, and you can rush from there. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily need to be an inside linebacker because those two guys, they kind of switch off and depending on where people shift.
I'm glad you said that about Neville Hewitt. I've been a big fan of that guy going back to the last game last year where he tore it up against New England. He played out of his mind. And when he's had opportunities, hey, Bo, some of those backup linebackers have been pretty good. And I feel a lot better about those guys when our guys, Jelani Jenkins and Cole Emisi, are injured, putting those guys in. They made some plays. So I think that's been a good sign. Yeah,
Paysinger's done a good job.
Paysinger's done a nice job, too.
You know, you got Paysinger, the consistent guy, and you got Neville, the guy that make plays that make you go, wow. And he really shows up. But there's times where he's maybe not where he's supposed to be, and then you get the other side of it. But I like both of those guys. Special teams are important. How do you rank the Finns' special teams right now, Joe? You'd like to see more from a kick and punt return, I think, at this point.
Haven't gotten enough out of returns. That would be the biggest complaint. The return game when they're now, and I think everybody's noticing National Football League on these kickoffs. The new thing is not to kick it out of the back of the end zone. It is to kick it up high towards the goal line and then get great coverage and tackle them inside the 20 is everybody's goal and save some yards instead of just going to the 25-yard line. And the Dolphins have not done a good enough job on their returns overall. Yeah, no doubt. And they've got a, you know, Darren Rizzi was here with me on Wednesday, and we talked a little bit about that. We talked about the league and how, you know, they implemented the kickoff so they wouldn't return kicks. Now all the way, you know what? Kick it to the 3 or 4 yard line, bring it back. If you get them inside the 25, it's a bonus for you. More teams are doing it, and more teams are successful doing it. So until you get to the point where they can figure that out, the NFL is going to have to deal with that in their own way. But the Dolphins are going to have to shore up their coverage a little bit. But you need to get a little more. You know, you like to get, like I'm watching the game last night, and you know they take the opening kickoff
and take it down, and the guy returns it to about the 40-yard line. Right. Well, that's the way to start a football game.
That's the way you do it. By the way, can't forget about Matt Darr. I'm getting tired of always talking about our punters being really good, and Matt Darr has turned out to be unbelievable.
MVP.
About 48.5 points.
If you're going to throw it out there right now, you'd have to say he's the team MVP.
Right there at the top.
Or right in the mix.
Bo, I don't think he's missed when he misses them.
Yeah.
A 40-yard punt maybe once. He's been really good.
Well, he kicked. You know, it's funny because he kicked one the other day. It was one of put the little backspin on it.
Yeah.
I think he caught the ball on the 16-yard line. He goes, that was a bad kick,
Yeah.
But he's on the 16-yard line.
That's what he wanted to do. That's what you want.
Line.
Right.
Yeah, he wanted it out there anyway. So, Twitter question: how important is time of possession? I think for this football team, I think it's important for any football team. But Joe, going into this football game, time of possession is paramount for this team to win a football game. Offensive, you got to hold on the football. You got to get some first downs. You got to keep your defense off the field. And if you want to see, I think the only time we've seen Adam Gaze's offense this year is the second half in New England, where things opened up a little bit. We haven't seen Adam Gaze's offense, really the offense that he wants to see out there other than that. And you can't get it unless you get some first downs. And first downs lead to time of possession. So, yes, how important is time of possession? For this football team in particular, it is absolutely one of the most important things going into this game.
Bo, it ties into everything. The big guys on defense. You know how nice it is for a 300-pound guy to be able to sit on the bench for an extra 10 minutes of actual time and watch and get extra time while you have a nice 7 or 8 minute drive or a 6-minute drive, march down the field and score. Time of possession's tied right into third down. And right now the Dolphins are dead last in both those. Too many 3-and-outs and too many quick possessions where you got your defense right back out on the field. And it's hard. It's hard to hold up, man, when you keep giving teams an extra 3 or 4 possessions, and then you throw in the turnovers, and you've got yourself a real ugly dinner.
Joe, you answer questions 4 hours a day, Monday through Fridays on 560 WQAM, the flagship station of the Miami Dolphins, and you get some crazy questions.
Correct.
I'm on here for a half hour, 3 days a week. This is from Dance Lessons. I saw an article that the Dolphins are going to hire Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football. Is that true? You know, Dance Lessons, I don't know who you are. I don't know what kind of dance you do. But if you believe that, you may be one of the more ignorant people I've ever gotten a question from in my life. You know, first of all, you got to drag him out of the club at the Bellagio for time enough to go somewhere other than to get another cocktail.
Right, correct.
Johnny Manziel is a train wreck, man.
Correct.
And
he's worried about getting his name now to Johnny Football. He doesn't want to be Manziel. He wants to be Johnny Football,
now he's
man.
Trademarking Johnny
Pretty
Football.
soon he's Johnny Rehab, Johnny Football, Johnny go back to college. Johnny may never play in the NFL. We need to stop with Johnny Manziel.
I think Johnny
he's a long way from playing.
Every day I've been getting, a different, it was A.J. McCarron. Wednesday was the guy that they wanted to bring in and take over the quarterback.
Why do we always want people? I get this on the radio, you're right.
Yeah.
Why do we always want people that have either been out of the league for 2 or 3 years because they weren't good enough or they screwed up, and we decide every guy that gets cut on every team, and some of the teams are bad, and we should get them.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It's like I always like the change of position mid-season. Hey, our tight ends aren't playing that well. Do you think Laramie Tunzel could switch over and play tight end?
Right.
I think he's got the athletic ability to do that.
Quick feet. Very quick feet.
So not only are you taking a guy like that and moving him out into season, you guys never played that position, but I think he can do it. Right. Let's give him a try in the middle of the season.
Right. No, we get it all. And hey, we love you. We love that you're staying with us. Don't get us wrong. But you're asking some crazy stuff.
Yeah, that was the Manziel. I like that one. I like that question just so I could call
Johnny's got other things to worry about instead of worrying about throwing a takeoff.
Leon, you've been here with me for every show. I think that's the first time I've called someone an idiot or a moron, right?
Is that the first?
Yeah. Besides you, that goes with
you don't count.
That goes without saying. CKB 28. Run D was better last week. Do you think that will continue to improve? I do. I think the run defense will improve. I do. Hey, you're watching the Audible here. Kim Bokamper, Joe Rose with you. You can catch us on a delayed basis on the Miami Dolphins Facebook page. You can catch us on MiamiDolphins.com and on Twitter. And you can send your questions via Twitter. Just hashtag the Audible. Should we bring back the Wildcat? Here we goes another. Should we bring back the Wildcat?
No.
I think the league now, with all these spread options and all these things, there are a lot of times you see guys throw a running back there, to run the spread option, do those kind of things. I don't know that. I like our guy.
Yeah.
I like our guy run that read option better than putting a running back there and do it right now.
I understand, and everybody liked the Ricky and Ronnie thing not too many years ago with the Wildcat and what it did to get this offense going. We won a bunch of games. Took teams a while to figure it out. But the read option right now, if you were to call in or text in and say, hey, we like the read option, I agree.
Yep.
Ryan Tannehill, especially when we get a good running game going, he really can sell the handoff. He's got a chance to make some big plays.
Although much like we've seen time and time again, defense have kind of caught up to that read option. It's not as easy to run as it was before. This is another one, the Wildcat. You know what I like about this? Should we bring back the Wildcat? I remember the second season of the Wildcat.
I do too.
Where everyone's like, hey, what? Can they just scrap that thing? That thing's horrible. Why we still run the Wildcat? But, let's bring it back.
You know what else we did off the Wildcat? You remember who we drafted for the Wildcat to make it even better?
I think we drafted the kid from West Virginia.
Pat White.
Give me his Pat White, yeah. That was a good draft choice.
He got knocked out about the second time he tried to run it.
Number 2? Was that a number 2 we got?
Number 2.
Number 2, Pat White out of West Virginia.
Right.
Who else was that? There was a running back they had. There was a.
Don't even.
I love both of those guys though. When they played in West Virginia, Pat White and the kid that went and played for Buffalo for a long time.
Who was responsible on that Pat White thing? Don't worry.
You know. I don't know.
I don't know.
All I can say is, who was responsible for the Pat White thing? He's not here.
No, he's not.
Dolphins should play short game, comebacks, and outs. Well, I think that's the Adam Gase offense in a nutshell right there.
I agree.
Short passing, crossing patterns, throw some out patterns.
Get rid of the football. I tell you what I'd
like to see a lot less of, Joe. That little bubble screen we've been trying, 4 or 5 times a game. At best you get 2 yards.
We haven't had great
At worst
success
you
with
lose
it.
3 yards on it. And
teams wait on it, either that or we don't block it well.
Yeah.
Bo, I'll give you another one on 3rd and 7s and 3rd and 8s, those 2 and 3 yard crossing routes.
Oh, no, come on now.
Last year and back doing it this year. If you've got time, if you don't have time, I understand you want to get rid of it, but if you've got time, let's get it down the field.
Joe, did you get a chance to watch a little football this week? Did
you
watch on Sunday? You watched some NFL Sunday?
I did.
You watched some Thursday night, Monday night football game? I watched a lot of it, and man, I tell you what. Sometimes it gets unwatchable with the amount of penalties, replays, and all this stuff going on. Taunting penalties, all this stuff. My gosh, the game is really, really changed. When you're like me. I say one game a week most of the time.
Right.
It's the Dolphin game. You start looking at all this other stuff, and you're like, wow, man, this is, to me, it's almost becoming a little bit unrecognizable at times. The way the game is played.
Game has changed a lot. Hey, Bo, 40. You look at all the teams with one win; they got a lot in common with a lot of the same kind of problems too. A lot of the same problems, 3rd down problems, throwing short passes, getting tackled short of a 1st down. Listen to the 49ers doing a lot of the same thing, getting rid of the ball underneath. Can't get to the 1st down marker, turnovers, and those type of things.
38 Double D Lover.
I like that.
38 Double D Lover. Is that just you, Leon? Is that Neon Leon just throwing that in there? I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, does Miami need to win all 4 of these home games? I don't think you need to win all 4 of these home games because certainly Pittsburgh coming to town is not going to be a pushover by any stretch of the imagination. But I think you'd be happy walking out of this 4-game series, heading to San Diego, who by themselves are having their struggles.
Right.
Then the Rams next week, who are having their struggles. If you can leave here 3-1, Joe, I think you would be extremely happy.
Yeah.
Extremely happy with that series of games.
And I know people are looking at
because you got the Jets and Buffalo. You go 3-1, you knock off the Jets, you knock off Buffalo,
Good
and you
teams.
knock off Tennessee if you can't get past Pittsburgh.
But I just need to we got to get this offense going.
Yeah.
We got to get some consistent play
Yeah.
and feel good. And when you leave the stadium, go, wow, That's what I thought. It's finally coming around. You're feeling better.
Yep.
I want to get that. And if that starts to happen, you'll start to get more wins. And you got to take care of at home. You've got to win these home games.
It would be great to walk out of that stadium on Sunday and look up at that scoreboard and see 32 points up there, 35 points, something like that.
Right. I agree.
And saying, wow, man, Devontae Parker had a big day.
Nice
Jarvis had a big
touchdown day, throwing a couple of
Man, how
field
about
goals.
that running back in the fourth quarter wore him down and started putting up some big numbers?
It would be nice to see.
That would be exactly.
I'm with you, Bo.
With the future of the Chip Kelly-style fast-paced offense, is it better to slow things down? Did you watch the 49ers last night? Have you seen the 49ers? Yeah. Not a whole lot going on there in that fast-paced Chip Kelly type of offense.
No, I agree with you.
But again, going back to Adam Gay's offense, he wants to be at that no huddle line of scrimmage, call plays, keep the defense on their heels, wear them out a little bit. But you can't do it when you have 6, 7 3-and-outs in the course of a football game.
Think what you're doing. The guys on the other side of the ball too, Bo. You barely get.
Well,
you barely get a drink.
But how can you get a defense? How can you go no huddle on a defense when after your first play it's 2nd and 8 or 2nd and 15 or something like that?
Not getting enough positive plays on
Can't
first
get the
and
job
second
done.
down.
All right, Joe. Big game for the Dolphins on Sunday. Big game for the fans. Hope to see a lot of you out there and fill that house up. I can tell you this: that building last time we were there for the Browns, you're up in the booth. Down where I stood in the field, man, that place gets loud, Joe.
Yeah.
They kind of configured that thing to keep the noise in, and whoever did that, whoever their noise engineer was, he certainly did a great job.
Yeah. Keeping that noise in the stadium is great, and really getting a home field advantage.
Yep.
And if you're going out to the game, man, be loud and proud.
Hey, look, it's been a little bit of a rough ride, but
Yeah.
stick by our boys, man. Give them the support they need, and turn those frowns upside down, so they
There
say,
you go.
Joe.
I like
And
that.
if you want to turn the frowns upside down early on Saturday, you got to check out A Cup of Joe. What time, Joe?
Sunday mornings.
Sunday mornings.
Early.
Sunday, what day did I say?
You said Saturday. I guess you want me to do
No,
it during
Sunday
the college
mornings.
football
I'm
game.
thinking
Sunday morning.
Sunday mornings. What time?
Sunday mornings, we do it usually
9-ish,
3.
10-ish,
Yeah, we do it
something
in the
like
9
that.
o'clock hour.
Yeah.
And we are ready to go. We get some great stuff, and we
That's
love
a
for you to join
Facebook.
us.
That's a Twitter, Periscope, MiamiDolphins.com.
You've been strong
All
today,
those
man.
places you can
You've
see
been
it.
social media strong today.
I'm getting
man.
social
You
media
are-
savvy, although I don't know what half some of the stuff is, but like I'm still
think
trying to
you're
figure out
doing
what
good.
38 double D LUVR is. I'm not sure. I'll ask Leon. Leon seemed to know what it was.
Maybe it's a new play.
Huh? It may be. The double D's. Double D's out. Meanwhile, we're out. We'll catch you next time here on The Audible.